Okay, so this is a third follow-up to this video about mode shapes. So the same YouTube user, Olabodi, sent me this really awesome derivation, which is actually very similar to the one that I was doing, the two masses, except the difference is that this one had a mass of 2m. And what that does is it actually makes your mode shapes a little bit different. Rather than having them both move in the same direction, both in the opposite direction, one moves a little bit more than the other because it has more mass. The derivation that he did is very, very similar, just slightly different. It's actually kind of cool that you can get to the same answer with a little bit different. But what I wanted to do was, I really like the way that he plotted these mode shapes here, the first mode here and the second mode here. So what I wanted to do is I actually wanted to recreate these. So I'm going to make V1, let's see, 0.73, 1, and do semicolon, then 1.0. And then V2 is negative 2.73 and 1.0. And so those are my two mode shapes. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Clear, CLC, close all. And what I want to do is, if you just do, let's say you run your eigenvalue analysis, and you get these two vectors. How do you plot it? And so what I was going to do is I was going to say, okay, well, what you really want to do is you want to make like a mode 1. I'm going to say 0, and then I'm going to augment it with V1, throw a 0 at the end of it, and then I'm just going to plot mode 1 in blue. And then I'm going to say mode 2 is 0, V2, 0, and then hold on, and then plot mode 2, and they're then in red, and then hit F5, and I should get my two modes, and it looks like I do. Here and here, you basically get this guy, and these are both 1, so you basically get them in the same spots. They kind of overlap. Now, what I thought would be cooler was if we actually made sort of not a contour plot, but like a mesh plot of all of them. And so, if we said that, if we did like a plot 3 command, and we said that our x coordinates were mode 1, our y coordinates were zeros of 4, 1, and then our our x coordinates would just be 1 to 4 because there's 4 points. Our y coordinates would be zeros 4, 1, and then our z coordinates would be mode 1. And I'm going to plot that in blue, and then I'm going to do I need a figure. And hopefully this will make sense once I plot it. I kind of just want to do it and then explain it in a second. And then this one, instead of doing zeros, I'm going to do 1s, and then I'm going to do mode 2, and then I'm going to run that. And so what I should get, and I do, is I get basically what's happening here is that the x coordinate is 1, 2, 3, 4 because there's 4 points. The y coordinates is a vector of zeros for the blue line, and then a vector of 1s for the red line. And then the z coordinate is essentially that mode shape. Now you don't need to do zeros and 1s. I mean, you could do 0.1 and have them closer together, but the axis is going to scale the same. I guess you could throw an axis equal down, and then now you can kind of see them like close together, which that makes more sense. But let's just do zeros and 1s. And so there you go. There they are, like side by side. Those are your two mode shapes. Now the thing with this is that there's two lines here, and so you don't really have a mesh here. And so how do you make a mesh? Well, what you do is if you set your x coordinate to 1 to 4, and then you set your y coordinate equal to, what you really have is you have 0 and 1. Those are your two y coordinates, like that. What you can do is you can say, I'm going to make x, x, y, y equals mesh grid of x coordinate, y coordinate. And I'm going to hit F5 here. It's going to plot the exact same thing. It's going to spit out my XX and my YY. And so you notice that it's a 2 by 4. And so if I make ZZ equal to mode 1 transpose and then mode 2 transpose, what I get is oop, did I put a semicolon? I did. Now I have my x coordinates, my y coordinates, and then I have my z coordinates. And so now what I can do is I can do mesh x, x, y, y, z, z, and then, okay, this is kind of lame, but let's do surf, so it's like colored in so you can actually see it. But there you go. There are my two modes. Now this is just for two modes, so if you had more modes, you could do more. But there you kind of see, like, the right edge is the first mode shape and the left edge is the second mode shape, and then you have, you know, lines connecting them. So if you had like 18 modes, you could make like a huge plot here, which would be kind of cool. So if you go back to Olabodi's derivation, he then talks about some FEA analysis. And when you do FEA, essentially what you're doing is you're breaking things down into a series of triangles here, and they all vibrate together. And so if you have these 3 points, say 0, 0, 6, 0, 0, 0, and is that D? It looks like it's 10. Okay, so let's make our coordinates. So like triangular coordinates. So I'm going to say my x coordinates are, or yeah, let's make my x coordinates. So I have I'm going to go in a counterclockwise direction. So I'm going to say my first x coordinate is 0, my second x coordinate is 10. My third x coordinate is 0. So those are my 3 x coordinates. And then my y coordinates are 0, 0, and then 10. Now for now, I'm going to make my z coordinates 0. Okay? So if I drop a figure down and I do a plot 3, x, y, z, and I'm actually going to do this in blue stars here, I should get, yeah, I get a triangle with those 3 points. Okay? Now, if I look at my first mode shape from here, okay, so the first mode is just 1, 1, 1. I don't really want to plot that one. Let's do, this one is 0, 1, negative 1. So that, let's do that one. So what we would do is we would say my first mode shape, really z is going to be my mode shape. That's going to be 0, what was it again? 0, 1, minus 1, 0, 1, minus 1. And so now if I plot that, of course it didn't like it. What did it say? Oh, it doesn't know what z is. Okay, mode shape. Okay, and there you go. And honestly, I feel like I should, can I just connect the lines here? I can, but it's gonna leave one off. And so you need to come back and connect the dots. So you need to put a 0 here, a 0 here, and you're just gonna need to add a point here. And so there you go, then you can kind of connect the dots there. But I feel like that's kind of cheating. But there's the first mode shape, or the second mode shape, essentially. Now, if you wanted to fill this in, though, does Octave have a patch command? Yeah, okay, you can do patch. And so let me do help patch here. Yeah, so you give it, let's see, C. Hang on, let me pause it real quick while I read this. Okay, cool. So what you can do is you can use the patch command. And so what you do is basically with the patch command, it's basically like a plot 3. You give the x coordinates, the y coordinates, the z coordinates, and then the color that you want, and it'll just fill it in for you. So there's your cool mode shape in 3D space. Now, I do want to show just how to do it with this surf command, just in case that's one you wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and comment out this patch and just draw this line again. So there are our lines again, and then I actually want to go back and delete these third points, and just so you know, like, hey, this is what would happen if you just had your 3 points. And then instead of connecting the lines, I'm just going to draw the stars again. Okay, so say you wanted to mesh this just like you did with the surf. You would essentially just do the same thing. You would say, I'm going to call this x FEA, y FEA, and then mode shape is fine. So I'm going to say x x FEA and y y FEA is mesh grid of x FEA, y FEA. Oh, honestly, I don't actually know if this is going to work. What is this going to do? Oh, it threw an error because I changed the name here. You guys, I'm sorry. Normally, I plan these before I do these. I'm just kind of like, you know, flying by the seat of my pants. Okay, it looks like it worked out okay. It's looking basically, How did it mesh these? Yeah, I mean, it gave me a 3 by 3 now, so it's like 0, 0, 10, 0, 0, 0 again. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I mean, if I just do a transpose, do I still get 3 by 3s? I still get 3 by 3s. Weird. Okay, well, so my ZZFEA is basically going to be mode shape, mode shape, mode shape. And by the way, I don't need to do the transpose here because like over here I had the transpose for the mode shape because mode 1 and mode 2 were column vectors and these ones are row vectors, and so hopefully I get a 3 by 3, and then I really hope this works. XX FEA, YY FEA, ZZ FEA. Alright, yeah, something. Oh, okay, that's why this isn't working. Mesh grid, you have to do it with a Cartesian coordinate system, or you have to do it with squares. So you can't do triangles. So that's the issue, is that the reason why this is making a 3 by 3 is because it sees 3 coordinates and it freaks out because it says like, oh, I can only deal with squares. And I think that's why the patch command actually works the best. I mean, if we throw our patch here, it still doesn't. It doesn't like X either because I changed it. FEA. Yeah. So our mesh grid is sort of this burgundy color, and then our green is also the surf. And I'm curious, if we get rid of these transposes and try again, what happens? Same thing. Sometimes you can like swap these and weird things happen, but I really think it's just because of the Cartesian coordinate system. Well, it looks like we got no. It looks like the vertices are right. Okay, in this scenario, the vertices are right. But yeah, it's really just because of the fact that it just wants to do triangles. So I'm just going to say you should just use the patch command and then call that a day. Yeah, I mean, if we say transpose this, we should get what we had before. And then if we do like mode shape transpose, comma mode shape transpose, comma mode shape transpose, you're still gonna you're gonna get the same thing. So yeah, so forget surf. Surf only works for squares. And so you just want to use the patch command to look at your mode shapes for triangles. Now, if you go back to the derivation that Olabode sent, he did show an example with squares here. This one would have worked. So let's just show that would have worked with the mesh command. So it looks like the mode shape is, let's see, phi. Let's get this out of the way. So this is square FEA. So phi is 0.802, 0.2488, negative 0.0308, and then negative 0.534. It doesn't really matter if that's right. So our x coordinates are, let's see, let's just do x sq for square. So we've got 0, 10, 10, and then 0. And then our y coordinates are 0, 0, 0, 0, 10, 10. And so we should be able to do this exactly the same thing as last time. So we can do a plot 3 of x square and y square and the mode shape in blue stars, and then we should be able to hold on, and we should just be able to throw a patch patch down. X square, y square, and v, and just do a red one. And so there we go. So there's our cool patch. It's kind of neat. Yeah, I like it. And then, so let's try mesh now. So this one should work. So we should be able to do xx square, yy square, mesh grid, x square, y square, and I'm gonna look at what the outputs are. Oh wow! See, this is a 4x4. Oh, of course. Okay, so when you do this, for triangles, it definitely doesn't work. But for squares, you actually need to go back and you need to realize that your x mesh is actually just 0 and 10, and then your y mesh is actually just 0 and 10. And then when you do xx square, yy square, you do mesh grid, x mesh, y mesh, and then you should just get a. I spelled mesh grid wrong. 9 times out of 10 it's a typo. There we go. So then you get your 4 points, and so now this is where you have some finagling, because basically what you want to do is you want to say phi. I don't know what I want to call this. ZZ squared. It's going to be. Yeah, this is tough. How do you wrap this around quickly? Can you just do phi the first 2 points and then phi the last 2 points? Does that work? Yeah, you get a 2x2. Do you get the same thing? Mesh. Let's do surf. Surf. Let's comment out the patch. And let's do surf. Xx square. Yy square. ZZ square. Alright, yeah, so I am off on some points here. So, I mean, there's a million things that could go wrong here. I mean, this could be swapped. No. Alright, I'm going to pause this because it's me figuring this out. Okay, so I figured it out. So for some reason, the mesh grid, it went in like a counterclockwise rotation. So this is actually like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And so when you make the vector, you need to do 1, 2, 4, 3. And so that's why I have here 1 to 2 and then 4, 3. So it like goes backwards. Anyway, when you do that, you get your surf command the correct way. But once again, I just feel like patch is the way to go. It works for triangles, it works for squares, and using mesh grid is just really weird. So I would just go with patches. But anyway, hopefully that helped you out, and good luck and happy coding.